Good morning, friends. Greetings and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs. That's because I look at the human body as a healing system, regenerating system, designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and health and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That's why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 30 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle. But what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure, because the human biological system, the human body, is a healing system, it's a renewing system, it's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health or nutrition or prescription drugs, if you want to leverage the body's built-in healing mechanisms using nutritional supplementation, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program or help a loved one wean themselves off their medications, we are here for you on The Bright Side. Our number is 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. We want to be your go-to source for health information. 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. If you have a success story you'd like to share, we love those. And of course, if you just want to contribute to the conversation, 844-236-6010 is our number. If you have questions about our longevity products or Truth Skin Health products or bone broth protein, if you have questions about formulations or ingredients, 844-236-6010 is our number. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised on our program, or if you want to join the Brightside Ben team and help spread the word about the power and importance of a good nutritional supplement program and make some money while you're doing it, please call the Brightside Ben team at 866-735-2470 for a one-time $25 fee. You can start yourself a longevity business, make some money selling longevity products, and help change lives at the same time. 866-735-2470 is the phone number for the Brightside Ben phone team. You can sign up to join the Brightside Ben team off the websites as well, pharmacistben.com, brightsideben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And for those of you guys who want a high-end skin health product, if you're not getting the benefits that you'd like to get out of your skincare products that you're using now, please check out our Truth Treatment products at truthtreatments.com, including our Truth Retinol 5% gel if you're dealing with dark spots or acne, or you want to prevent dark spots, or you want to prevent acne, or you want to reverse wrinkles. I just found out yesterday from my friend Dr. Drew, I know you're listening out there, Dr. Drew, that his Retinol 5% gel is actually reversing his wrinkles. And he took me to task for not talking about that. So, Dr. Drew, I know you're out there. You should call in, Doc. Tell the listeners what you told me yesterday, how your wrinkles are disappearing from our Truth Retinol 5% gel. You can find out all about it at truthtreatments.com, in addition to our Truth Serum, Truth Balm, and Truth Omega-6 Healing Cream, all made without preservatives, fragrances, fillers, wax, oil, silicone, water, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want. Truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. All right. We are talking about the ketogenic diet and fats and things you can do to help support fat metabolism in the body, to lose weight, to improve heart health, to improve mental health, if you're dealing with seizure disorders, dementia, Alzheimer's disease, just to feel better. The ketogenic diet is a high-fat, lose weight, high-fat, feel better diet. Always in association, however, with low carbohydrates and also low calories. That's the two most important caveats that I would give you if you want to go ketogenic. You've got to combine your high fats without carbohydrate, with low carb. You want high fat without a lot of carbohydrates, and you want high fat and low total calories. Caloric intake needs to be reduced. Carbohydrate intake needs to be reduced in association with high fat if you really want to leverage the stupendous health benefits associated with the ketogenic diet. Yesterday, we left off talking about fiber. Fiber is a non-nutritional nutrient in the sense that your body can't really use it as a nutrient, although it does use it mechanically. There are some critters, however, that can use fiber nutritionally. Those are the bacteria that we talk, the gut bacteria that we talk about so often on this program, the microbiome. I hope nobody's put off by that phrase. Micro meaning microscopic, biome meaning the universe of life, the microscopic universe of life that lives in our guts and intestines. And every day we learn more and more about how important and how valuable and what these things do for us, from making vitamins to helping us digest our food to improving mental health, to fighting cancer and bacterial infections, to fighting yeast infections, to communicating with the cells of our intestine to make our intestine run better. These little critters actually have an extra set of genetic material, or extra genetic material, for us to use. They act as a source of genetic material for us to actually use. They communicate to our cells. This is so amazing to me, how we have these animals, these not animals, but life forms that live within us, that are actually in constant communication with our cells. One of the things these little critters do is they eat fiber. And while we can't use the nutrients that are found in fiber, when these bacteria eat fiber, they actually secrete in response, or excrete, I guess you'd say, in response to their intake of fiber, wonderful, wonderful health substances. We're going to talk about one of them in particular that's very important for the ketogenic diet here in a little bit. But first I want to talk about fiber. Actually, I want to talk a bit about fiber because there's a lot of misunderstandings. I don't think we appreciate its importance, its medical importance, its therapeutic importance, its healing importance as much as we should. Fiber can really be leveraged very effectively if you're going high fat for a lot of reasons. First of all, fiber has a magnetic ability to attract fat. So if you're eating a lot of fat and you're not handling it correctly, it may raise your blood fats a little bit. If your blood fats are high, that can be a problem. Blood cholesterol, not so much. I got a letter here today from a gal in England. I thought this was kind of interesting. I hate to take a digression here, but I think I'm going to. This is a gal from England, and I find that if you're listening from overseas, particularly from the United Kingdom or from Scotland, you guys are really stuck in the dark ages. Even in Canada, you guys are really stuck in the dark ages, I am sad to say, when it comes to understanding health and nutrition. We're not all that advanced here, mind you, but you guys are really backwards. And I don't mean that as an insult, I just mean that as something that I've noticed here. Cholesterol, let me be very clear. Cholesterol, the link between cholesterol and heart disease is weak. If it's there at all, it's weak. In fact, I don't even think it's there. Lowering blood cholesterol, or going by cholesterol scores, LDL, HDL, good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, whatever you want to call it, going by your cholesterol scores to assess whether you should be on a poison drug, statins, i.e. statins. They are poison drugs. Like all drugs, they're poisons. Perhaps they're not as poison as warfarin, but they're poisons nonetheless. To use a statin drug, to be dosed with a poison because your blood cholesterol scores are high or low, or high, I should say, is not a reason to take a drug. All right? First of all, the link between heart disease and elevated cholesterol is just not there. Secondly, cholesterol is incredibly important. No, incredibly important. I don't know how... I wish I had a word that wasn't incredible, wasn't the word incredible, to tell you how important cholesterol is. It is arguably, and I don't even argue about it, but you may argue that it is the absolute most important, number one biochemical in the body. And to lower it artificially with a drug because your scores are high is not smart medicine and not intelligent biochemistry. Anyway, I get this letter from this gal, and I'll tell you about it when we come back from our break. We got to take a commercial here. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We will be back right after this. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Our number 844-236-6010, and we have lines open for you. We'll get your calls at the bottom of the hour, 844-236-6010. If you have questions about the longevity products or Truth Skin Health products, anything we're talking about today, the ketogenic diet, fiber. I'm going to tell you about a really cool fiber here, maybe tomorrow, that has anti-cancer benefits and anti-aging benefits. It's great for your skin. We'll talk about that probably tomorrow. 844-236-6010 is our number. On the bright side, today and every day, we're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time. If you want to purchase our Truth Skin Health products, go to truthtreatments.com, and our bone broth protein, check out brightsidehealthproducts.com. Soon to have CBD, cannabidiol. I've been reading all kinds of stuff about CBD, and I've been seeing all kinds of wonderful results from this particular form of CBD that I get from a friend of mine who has a big, huge hemp factory where he turns hemp. We're going to have him on the program here. Hopefully in the next few weeks. He turns hemp into all kinds of various medicines. Hemp fiber, the stuff that you get that grows out of the ground. I don't know what you call it. I don't think it's called a fiber. Anyway, he turns hemp into all kinds of medicine, including this really neat form of CBD that I've been working with now for 6 months, getting great benefits. You'll be able to check that out at brightsidehealthproducts.com probably in the next couple of weeks if you're dealing with pain or dealing with, God forbid, cancer. For animals that have cancer, dogs and cats, CBD can be really, really beneficial. You might want to Google it if you're interested. Cannabidiol, Cannebidiol, cannabidiol. I think that's how you spell it. Anyway, I want to talk about this letter that I got today. I thought it was really interesting, and it has to do with fiber. I'm not digressing too much here. Fiber is very important for helping to attract blood fats or to scrub away fats out of the blood and out of the intestine. So if you're going high fat, making sure you're getting enough fiber is really important. And the reason I thought I wanted to bring this letter up is because it's from a gal who lives in the UK, and she was concerned about taking statin drugs. Now, I don't like talking too much about statin drugs because probably by now most of you who are listening to this program know that it's really not a good way to treat your body to take a statin drug. And you guys probably know my position on it. But I thought this letter was interesting because we're talking about fiber and we're talking about blood fat. So this gal lives in the United Kingdom. She lives in Scotland, and she writes, "My doctor wants to start me on statins, but I am reluctant to do so. I've been searching for an alternative and came across brightsideben.com, amongst others, but I think I trust you more." Thank you. I appreciate that. "I had low cholesterol and still I started eating a lot of eggs advised by Dr. Joel Wallach. I am so confused with what is right. Please help. I live in London, England, and I'm having difficulty in getting BTT posted to me." That means mailed in the Queen's English, I suppose. Anyway, so you eat a lot of eggs, your blood cholesterol goes up. Yes, that probably happens. Well, why is that a problem? Well, it's a problem because we believe, we don't know, we believe, we have this opinion, and it's perpetuated by drug companies who profit on it, that for some reason, when your blood cholesterol is high, you will have a heart attack. This has never been shown to be the case. There is some statistical mumbo-jumbo that may show that certain types of elevated cholesterol may possibly have a link to heart disease, but it is very weak. And there's a lot of evidence that shows that it's not the case. And this is the way science is. When you do studies, when you do articles, you go by the preponderance of evidence. And if there's a debate, you can't make a conclusion. But where you can make a conclusion is when you understand the biochemistry, which is why I always say if you're sick, go to a biochemist, not a doctor. Doctors do statistics. Doctors do symptoms. Doctors treat beliefs. And it's been that way throughout history. Doctors have had beliefs, and they've treated the body based on their beliefs. But biochemistry is about hardcore chemicals. It's how the body works. Biochemistry is based in something called the pathways. The pathways are how A gets turned into B. I'm trying to be as simple as I can here because, I know a lot of you guys tune out when you hear chemistry or biochemistry, but if we're going to be healthy and we're not going to be slaves to the medical model and we're not going to be really abused by drug companies, we have to understand a tiny little bit about how our biochemistry works. That's why I do this program. Not because, I'm a biochemistry geek. I admit it. I love biochemistry. But it's important from a health perspective because if we don't understand it, we will let them drug us. And they will drug us because there's a lot of money to be made in drugging us. So you got to understand the basics. Here's how it works. A gets turned into B, gets turned into C, gets turned into D. That's chemistry, biochemistry. I always like to go back to Tinker Toys and talk about how just think about the shape of a Tinker Toy, and somehow, and this is a miracle, it's the only way to explain it, somehow the body and really the cells of the body know how to take Tinker Toy A and turn it into Tinker Toy B and turn it into Tinker Toy C. And all these little Tinker Toys, all these little chemicals are incredibly important. Drugs work by blocking A going to B going to C. And they block A going to B going to C based on beliefs. They believe that B is a problem, so they'll block A going to B. They'll believe C is a problem. And you say, oh, is it really beliefs? Yes, it's beliefs. It's statistics. It's not knowledge. It's not hardcore science. It's beliefs. They believe cholesterol is bad. So they'll say, okay, we're going to stop you from making cholesterol. But there are cultures that have eaten lots of cholesterol, like the Maasai in Africa and the Eskimos or the Inuit who live in the Arctic. They eat lots of cholesterol, and they don't get heart disease. So we have, and it's never been shown definitively, even in science here. But what is known is that when you block A going to B, bad things happen. When you force the body to not make B out of A, you get toxicity and side effects. The body doesn't like something getting in the way of what it wants to do. That's pretty much as simple as I can put it. The body doesn't like your doctor sticking his nose in your business. Your body and the cells don't like something getting in the way of what they need to do. If the body is doing something like making a lot of cholesterol or making a lot of fibers, fibrosis, these are basically what happens, how we get sick, how sickness shows up. We make too much of stuff, or sometimes we don't make enough of stuff. A doesn't get turned into B effectively enough, or A gets turned into too much B. But the problem it doesn't require poisoning A going to B. It's to figure out why is it too much B being made. I hope that isn't confusing anybody. A goes to B. Chemical A is supposed to go to chemical B. If too much B is being made, it's an A problem. It's not a reason to poison the reaction, to kill the pathway. Because when you kill the pathway, you affect everything. Everything in the body's connected. Everything in the body's linked. You can't just kill one single pathway. So when you kill the pathway that makes cholesterol, you end up not making coenzyme Q10, which is incredibly important for the heart. That factoid alone highlights the stupidity with a capital S of using statin drugs, of using pharmacology to make the body better. Okay? Coenzyme Q10 is without a doubt, nobody disputes that, one of the heart's most important substances, biochemicals. Okay? Nobody disputes that. Nobody with any biochemical understanding disputes the fact, even your doctor doesn't dispute the fact that coenzyme Q10 is critical for the heart. When you take a statin drug, you stop the body from making coenzyme Q10. That's just one of the problems. Okay? All in the name of making the heart healthier. All right? This is the stupidity of it. Anyway, I didn't get a chance to read this letter because I was rambling on there. We'll do it when we come back from our break. And get to your phone calls, 844-236-6010 is our number. On the bright side, I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. Hang on if you're on hold. I just want to finish this up really quickly. I got a letter today, earlier this morning, from a gal in the UK. She's concerned that she's starting to eat eggs and her cholesterol is going up. Now her doctor wants to put her on statin drugs. Here's the scoop. You can't poison the drug back into health, number one. Number two, the link between elevated blood cholesterol and heart disease is in great dispute. From a biochemical standpoint, it doesn't even make sense, but according to the United States Department of Health and Human Services, the latest dietary guidelines for Americans, or DGAs, guess what? As of April, I believe it was, of this year, no longer do they recommend limiting cholesterol as a way of protecting your heart. Quote, Dr. Walter Willett, chair of the nutrition department at the Harvard School of Public Health. There's been a shift of thinking. He has called the turnaround on cholesterol, quote, a reasonable move. Okay? Now even the government admits that the whole cholesterol thing is a bunch of malarkey. Looking back at the literature, we just couldn't find the kind of science that would support dietary restrictions, says Robert Eckel, the co-chair of the task force and a medical professor at the University of Colorado. This is what we've been saying for years because we know the pathways. Myself, Dr. Wallach, healthcare professionals who study biochemistry know you don't have to wait for your doctor to bless this thing. I'm telling you, from a biochemical standpoint, it is stupidity to take a drug to lower blood cholesterol, and you don't need to worry about your blood cholesterol. However, you got to worry about why your blood cholesterol is high, and that always backtracks to insulin and blood sugar for the most part, in large measure. If you, and this is what I wrote to this gal, if you want to reduce your cholesterol and protect your heart, lower your insulin and your blood sugar. Use nutrients that support insulin and blood sugar. Niacin, for example, is one of the most important blood sugar stabilizing vitamins there is, maybe the most. And guess what? Niacin is a natural statin drug. Yes, you take niacin, you lower your cholesterol and your blood fats naturally because the body likes niacin. Cells want niacin. A cell sees a statin drug and it thinks Satan. It says, get thee, Satan, behind me, unless you force it with a statin drug, and you have to take a high enough dose to force it into the cell. The cell doesn't want a statin drug. The cell doesn't want any drug. It's freaked out by drugs, and that's why we have a detoxification system in our liver. Who came up with the idea of taking something that needs to be detoxified to make the body healthier? So I told this gal, reduce your sugar intake and use nutrients, particularly niacin, chromium, vanadium from the sweeties, ultimate selenium, which is involved in the production of insulin, arginine and taurine, two very important amino acids for helping blood sugar, and then using more fiber, which we will talk about as we continue our discussion on blood fats and fiber, and particularly this very interesting form of soluble fiber that has anti-cancer benefits, skin health benefits, helps if you're dealing with asthma or allergies. And it's a form of soluble fiber that I've been using for many years in my skincare formulations. We'll do that tomorrow as we continue talking the ketogenic diet, blood fats, fiber, and good health on the bright side. 844-236-6010 is our number. There's Dr. Drew. I knew you'd be calling, Dr. Drew. Good morning. So let me just tell the listeners a little bit about you, Dr. Drew, if I may.
Go ahead.
I've known Drew now for, 3 or 4 years probably, and Drew was a listener, and he called me up, and I got him into longevity, and now he's got himself a nice little longevity business. Some of you guys may have talked to Dr. Drew. He takes some of the phone calls that we get, so some of you guys know who he is. Dr. Drew's an acupuncturist and an incredible herbalist, one of the best. I've known a lot of herbalists, and Dr. Drew's one of the best herbal practitioners that I know, and he's also a good friend, and Dr. Drew started using our retinol 5% gel, and we had a conversation yesterday. Our Truth Retinol, by the way, truthtreatments.com. So Drew called me up yesterday. I'd sent him out some stuff, and he took me to task for something that I said. So with that introduction, Drew, tell the listeners a little bit about what you told me.
Okay. Well, basically, I moved from Florida to Colorado, so I went from the jungle to the desert, more or less, as far as my skin was concerned. So, and I aged 10 years, and I'm from 55 to 65, which is probably a factor. But because I've been doing everything else properly, getting my essential fatty acids in my diet, my omegas with seafood, and I'm very diligent about making sure I get my supplements. So, but I'm aging. So my skin's aging since I moved to Colorado, and I do use a humidifier here, and I can't emphasize people who have skin issues, lung issues, how important that is in a dry climate. So. I used to work for Redken before I went to chiropractic school, and when was that, in the 70s and so I know I can read an ingredient and any cosmetic product, know what it's.
You understand ingredient DAX and what ingredients are.
Yeah. So I used to make Redken. If any of you ladies out there ever had Warm Glow or Fresh Braise or Warm Glow, that was me. Anyway, But yeah, so we used to use lanolin and things like that. It wasn't necessarily very good. And then, so I wanted to try to get my wrinkles taken care of because of the sun in Florida and the fishing I did. And you were kind enough to send me a sample, and I've been putting it on about pretty much every 2 or 3 days, like I'm not supposed to. I know it's a little too often.
That's a little bit much, but yeah.
A little much, but my skin's tough, I think.
But you're a doctor. You know what you're doing.
I'm watching it. I just monitor it. Exactly. I don't do it all the time like that in cycles. And I've noticed that it does the same thing my cosmetic acupuncture does with about 30 needles or more per. Use very fine needles per wrinkle. I was mentioning to Ben. When I lived in Florida, when people would come in with a tan with the wrinkles, you put the needles in, and you could see this white skin coming underneath, scar tissue disappearing, and that's the same thing that's happening with this retinol. The retinol is going in there just like the needles. It's a little counter irritant to the tissues, so the tissues regrow. It stimulates growth in that respect, just like massage or
hormesis. Have you heard the term hormesis? Yeah, it's hormesis. For the listeners,
hormesis
hormesis is the idea that you can. Let me just tell listeners what hormesis is. It's the idea that you can stimulate tissue to the point where you may not think it's comfortable, but that uncomfortable nature will actually initiate the production of new tissue, new fibers, and new moisture factors. And this is one of the most important mechanisms for the activity of alpha hydroxy acids, glycolic acid, and lactic acid, as well as retinol. So you notice not only
your skin, even goes into the tissues, the heat and cold. Yes.
So you noticed that the wrinkles you had were actually improving.
The surface wrinkles that were beginning to form are not. The older wrinkles that you said, oh, you're not going to get rid of those. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
I can see them starting to go away in a matter of 2 weeks. We're not talking months here.
That's awesome, Dr. Drew. Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate it very much. And thank you so much for your service.
My website so people know who I am.
Put your website out.
EastWestMedicines.com, www.eastwestmedicines.com.
www.eastwestmedicines.com. Dr. Drew, thank you so much. Have a great day. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Okay, take care, man. All right. Yeah, that's an important point that needs to be made. Hormesis, the idea that you can stimulate the body past the point where you be comfort, getting the body out of its comfort zone to get stronger. HORMESIS, hormesis. And it's now being understood more and more by mainstream medicine that there's actual scientific basis to how peels work, alpha hydroxy acids and lactic acid and salicylic acid, as well as to how retinol works. Although retinol, we've seen the literature on retinol now for 3 decades. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number on the bright side. We'll be back after this. Bright side, 844-236-6010 is our number. We're talking about the ketogenic diet and blood fats and cholesterol and fiber and anything you want to talk about here. If you got questions about the longevity products or True Skin Health products or formulations, ingredients, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, or if you have a success story you'd like to share, 844-236-6010 is our number. Wes in Idaho. Good morning, Wesley. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing good. Nice to hear from you. Where in Idaho are you, Wes?
Northern, close to Coeur d'Alene.
Okay. That's how far from Boise?
Quite a ways.
Quite a ways. You know, Idaho is a spectacularly beautiful state. I was in Boise about a month or about maybe 6 weeks ago, and I was really, I thought that's a very livable place. I don't know where you're at, but Boise is a very livable place, actually. Idaho is one of my favorite states.
Coeur d'Alene is famous for a beautiful lake. It's quite a ways from Boise. Boise is just a very southern part of the state, whereas Coeur d'Alene's quite close to the northern part of the state, just 7,500 miles at the most from Canada.
Okay, Boise's a little closer to civilization, I would say, right?
Well, to the middle of the country, yes. Like I say, Coeur d'Alene is fairly close to Canada.
You're in the wilderness. Is that the wilderness? Is that the Idaho wilderness?
Spokane. It's horizontal, 50 miles from Spokane, Coeur d'Alene.
Okay, cool. Well, how can we help you today, Wes?
Autism, is that also a dietary
100%. Well, yes.
Digestion?
Yes. Nothing highlights what I call the triangle of disease more clearly than schizophrenia and autism, which seems so distant from the three fundamental points that we always talk about. And this is so important. Underneath all health challenges, chronic, long-term degenerative health challenges, what they call now NCA or NCDs, non-communicable diseases. This is the latest term, by the way, for progressively chronic, long-term health issues. What I call chronic degenerative disease, they're now calling NCD, non-communicable diseases. Underneath, whatever you want to call it, underneath these, there's always these 3 points: the blood sugar system, or the digestive system first, the blood sugar system, and then the adrenal thyroid complex. Now, I have yet to hear anybody talking about this, but it's so important to understand. The only reason I even thought about it is because I kept seeing it over and over and over and over again. I got to see, because of what I do for a living, I get to see that hundreds, thousands of people over the last 30 years, probably tens of thousands of people in health challenges. And underneath, I would always see these 3 points: the digestive system, the blood sugar system, and the adrenal thyroid complex. And this is why in a nutshell, the primacy of these 3 points, the fundamental nature of these 3 points, and not addressing these 3 points is why medicine fails us in terms of reversing chronic degenerative diseases, which theoretically and logically should be reversible, because it's in the body's nature to heal. So when the body doesn't heal, you backtrack to these systems, and that includes mental health issues, schizophrenia and autism in particular. I'm not talking necessarily about depression, which is kind of an emotional, mental thing, but organic, physiologic, chronic, long-term degenerative kinds of health conditions like autism and schizophrenia. Autism. And the way you can prove this, Wes, and anybody listening, the way you can prove this to yourself, I don't want anybody ever just to listen to me, to take what I say as gospel any more than we should take what anybody says as gospel. Test your hypothesis. Come up with a hypothesis and test it. Our hypothesis is the triangle of disease. Let's test it. Our hypothesis is the digestive system is the foundation of everything, for better or worse. Let's test it. Here's how you test it, Wes. Stop eating. Fasting. Just stop eating for 2 or 3 days. If your symptoms resolve, you got a digestive issue. This is just science logic. Are you with me, Wes? Now, yeah. You got to start eating. You can't not eat forever, obviously. But when you start eating again, now eat carefully. Simultaneous with this, at the same time that you're doing this kind of watching what you're putting into the digestive system, you strengthen the digestive system. You approach it from 2 angles. You stop putting the bad stuff in and you start putting the good stuff in. So you approach it from 2 angles. This is every health challenge, every chronic long-term degenerative health challenge. I've now made myself unnecessary, which is what a good healthcare professional should do. A good healthcare professional should be making himself irrelevant, and I've now made myself irrelevant. I've now made this program irrelevant from a healing perspective. That's not to say you shouldn't listen, because it's kind of interesting stuff, I think. But the point is that if you want to reverse a chronic degenerative disease, now you know everything you need to know, and it doesn't involve a doctor or a pharmacist or an insurance company or a radio program or me or anybody. You work on the digestive system first. Now, how you do it? Hang on, Wes. From 2 directions: eliminate problem foods. First, fast, so you can see it for yourself, the link, and then start eating again, but eat very carefully and watch for problem foods. Now, I'm not giving you the whole details here because we've done this so many times, but that's the general idea. Then you support digestive health with in a positive, proactive sense, with supplements, especially fiber and probiotics. That's good bacteria. Eat fermented food and vegetables, and you'll get both fiber and probiotics, and you'll get the benefits of nitrogen as well if you do celery and cucumber juice and pretty much all vegetables. Nitrogen in vegetables supports the health of the intestine as much as the fiber does, and if you do it fermented veggies, you get the bacteria. There's tons more. The amino acid glutamine is very important. The mineral zinc is very important. All the B complex is very important. There's just so many. Apple cider vinegar with your meals, digestive enzymes with your meals. There's so many ways to go. But focusing on digestive health will help you with mental health issues, autism, schizophrenia, as well as everything else. I know that's a long-winded answer, and I didn't mean to cut you off there, Wes. What were you going to say?
You need to see that movie Vaxxed. And also I heard Eustace Mullins the other day. He was saying that vaccinations are designed to be time bombs, to be impossible for the body's immune system to remove them. They're time bombs that cause cancer and heart disease and strokes.
Don't get too off on that, although you're correct probably about everything, and vaccinations are a big problem. But don't digress on that, because that is a minor part of our illnesses. Okay, minor. It's not a good thing. Vaccines are, you're bypassing your liver and you're going right into the blood, and only God knows what's in the vaccine. And they're a problem, a huge problem. But it's too sexy and titillating and mentally distracting to go for these dramatic kinds of health challenges. Yes, vaccines are a problem. McDonald's is a way bigger problem. Does that make sense, Wes?
Well,
you can agree to disagree if you like. I don't know how you can disagree with that, but that's you're entitled.
Vaccinations are one of the.
They're not. They don't come close to the McDonald's. Not even touch the problem with McDonald's and with nutritional deficiency and with. There's all kinds of problems. What do you think's in your water? Hey, Matt, Wes, what do you think's in your tap water?
Well, I filter.
You may filter it, but don't you think that's a little bit of a bigger problem than vaccines? Our tap water, our poisonous tap water with drugs in it, with antibiotics in it that everybody's drinking. I would say I'm not going to tell you vaccination's not a problem. Don't get me wrong. It's a problem. But we got to put things in perspective here. Our tap water is a bigger problem. Okay?
It depends where you live, does it?
Well, in 99%, you're right. There are some pockets here and there, but in 95% of the country, it's a problem. Got to motivate, my friend. Thank you so much, Wes, for your call. Appreciate it. Fluoride? Are you kidding me? Fluoride that everybody's drinking? Okay, vaccines are a problem, yes, but let's keep things in perspective. Carl, the Truth Raider, you get the last word. What's up, my man?
All right. Good morning, Ben. 5-HTP L-tryptophan. Just had a quick story to tell you about. I cooked up 4 delicious pieces of chicken breast, and I put barbecue sauce and everything on them, and I enjoyed them. I ate them, and it's the most chicken I've had in a long time, and it's the first time I think I had a concentrated amount of L-tryptophan that may be contained in the meat itself. And I had the most deepest, most vivid, colorful, long, story-filled dream
Nice.
I've had in years.
That's awesome. And is that your new favorite supplement, Carl the Truth Raider?
Well, no, it's just something I had some chicken breast to cook and eat. So I decided to do that as a meal last night, a fulfilling meal. And I just went into this deep REM sleep state.
That's a hot little tip. Tryptophan, I've been recommending tryptophan, not so much 5-HTP, but tryptophan for folks who have problems sleeping for a long time. Thanks for your call, Carl, the Truth Raider. That's all the time we have for today. On the bright side, I'm Pharmacist Ben. Tomorrow we'll continue talking the ketogenic diet and fats, and we'll talk especially about a really, really cool form of fiber that fights cancer specifically, and you can use it in your skincare products too. Check out my skin health products at truthtreatments.com and our longevity products at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. Thanks for listening. Have an awesome, wonderful, beautiful, spectacular day. We'll talk to you all later. Bye for now.